Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Cameron with Audi 7 owners, and tonight I'm going to bring a DIY video to you showing you how to remove your supercharger off your 3.0T. Obviously, I've got a C-tub engine code for our supercharged engine, but this should be almost the exact same for a CREC engine as well. So stick with me, and I'm going to show you step-by-step process on how to do this. By the way, I know there's a bunch of videos showing how to remove a supercharger, but people have asked me to do one for them for this channel, so I figured why not? It's as good as time as any, because I'm going to be swapping out some intercooler cores. So here we go. All right, first things first, you need to remove whatever intake setup you've got. I've got the RKX tube, so you just need to remove your intake off of the throttle body because obviously that's connected to your supercharger. Big note here, you can see our fuel line runs over the top of our intake tube. Make sure when you reinstall this, that intake tube is back on top of this. I'm sorry, that fuel line is back on top of this so it doesn't rub anything and spring a fuel leak. Next up, we're going to be removing these sensors right here. This wiring sensor is for your, basically your IAT sensor. This is what measures the temperature of the airflow going through your supercharger. There's one on each side, so we're going to remove that. For this one, all you have to do is pop up that gray tab, and then press on it and pull up. After that, on this side only, you've got this line here, and for the fuel line, you just need to pop it out of the channel guide. Then there's two screws holding this in, and those are T25s. After that, we're going to remove the line off this we're going to completely remove this purge valve here. We're just going to back this clamp up and just tuck it out of the way. That'll give us access to some of the electrical connections that we need to get. For this, I like to get a little soapy spray here, and that helps that spring clamp move back a little bit. This is a small spring clamp, so you can generally get away with just needle nose pliers. If you've got the special spring clamp tools, you can use that as well. But you start wiggling it and just back it out. These made it a lot easier. Just tuck that out of the way. Before I remove my vacuum lines back here, I like to make sure they're marked. I'm going to remark them because they're starting to fade a little bit, but you've got this line here that connects to two bottom ports, and that you don't really have to mark. There's only one way that's going to line up when you go back, but these lines here, there's one that comes from the back, one that comes from in here. I put an L and R on there so I know that this line goes to the left side, this one goes to the right side. And then to remove those, it's very simple. You just pull them out. This is where it might get a little tricky to show you guys. We're gonna start removing the electrical connections, and what I'm gonna do is just point them out to you first. So we're gonna start underneath, then you see the black tab right here. You're gonna remove that, and you can see I've got marks on those. You can see I put 3 lines with a Sharpie, so I know those connect there. Then we're gonna come up here. You've got those 2 right there. Once again, I have marked those with the Sharpie. I've got the 2 on the left there. I put an R on the one on the right to go right. And you can see on the top there, I've got an L for the left. That way I don't confuse those. And you see in the back, I'm gonna get my light back here. We've got this one here. And I think there's one more, yep, right there. You can see the lines on it as well. We've got that one to remove as well. If you don't know how to remove Audi, Volkswagen electrical connections, stand by, because I'm gonna show you, this might be the best part of this tutorial. Audi, Volkswagen electrical connections have just wreaked havoc on so many people trying to work on their car. And they're actually really simple. People will see little openings when they think they need to shove a screwdriver or something in there to get them out, and that ends up just breaking them. So all you have to do is you take the back of the plug and you push it in like you're trying to actually connect it. While you're pushing it in, this part right here, you're gonna press down on, that's your tab. So while you're pushing it in, you're going to push it in and press down on that, and then it will slide off. There you go. Now I will say this, there is that clip there, and if you have something tiny enough, you can get in here and lift it up and then push it off, but make sure you're not breaking anything. Okay, so once again, if you got something tiny, you can lift up that lip, and I don't know, it's kind of hard to show you from this angle, but once again, either push in, press the tab, bring it out, or get something really small to get under the lip to lift it off of the edge that catches that. So go ahead and remove everything that I showed you in the last clip, and then we'll move on to the next step. Oh, one of them I forgot, this one here. This is a big one. So once again, let me show you. I can probably show you the other way on this one. There you go. So once again, you just push in and then press on this tab in the back and pull it off, or you get something in there to lift the catch tab like a tiny little pick. This one that's way in the back is a little trickier to get to just because the tabs are on the inside. By the way, you want to make sure your engine is a little cooler before you start reaching back in here on all of this stuff. And push in, press on the tab, and then pull it off. See, if you know what you're doing, it'll come off real easy. On this clip here, you see with the red tab, this little tab here, this is not one that you push in, press the tab. This one is a locking tab, so get a pick, gently push the red part out, just hook it, push it back gently. Then once that tab is out, you're gonna press in on that tab and you're gonna pull the connector back. With that, we have now got all of the electrical connectors disconnected, but you want to make sure you go through everything and make sure they're all completely disconnected. Once you have the electrical connectors removed, the last step is going to be, well, we got two more steps. Next one is going to be disconnecting your coolant hoses, which mine has a divorce system, so it's going to look a little different than yours, but either way, they're going to be connected to your crossover pipe here. So you have to remove both of those. It's gonna spill coolant, so make sure you have something there to catch the coolant with. It's not a huge deal. If not, I would definitely spray your belts off. And then once those are disconnected, then it's gonna be time to unscrew the bolts on the supercharger and remove it. So let's go ahead and get these removed off and we'll move on from there. Okay, this is about the second to last step. We're gonna go ahead and remove the nuts that connect the supercharger to the actual engine. These are 13 millimeter, and there are 6 of them. And while there's no particular order to remove them in, I still like to go across just to relieve the tension evenly. The last thing we have to remove are our coolant lines that connect to the crossover pipe. I've already stuffed some rags underneath here to catch as much coolant as possible. Just keep in mind, coolant is going to leak out here. So you want to be ready for this. I've already loosened these up, so we need to back them off there. Be real easy with this pipe. Don't jerk this thing around a lot, because if it cracks, you're in bad luck. You're gonna have to order a whole new one. Now there's some tricks to this. A lot of people do it and just let it leak out. Some people will jack the front of the car up so that the coolant will move to the back. My whole system is divorced. You want this to be a relatively cool engine. My car's been sitting for a couple hours. It's still pretty warm. I've got gloves, but I don't have anything that's gonna keep the water off of them, so I'm just gonna risk it here. I have these, and my plan is to pull this off, and these are just some silicone end caps, and try and push them on there real quick, but I don't know if they're gonna be big enough. So we'll see how this goes. Yeah. Let's try this. All right, not too much water came out, and these actually fit perfectly, so that's good. So what that's going to do is that's going to allow me to remove the supercharger without a ton of water spilling everywhere. You can see there's a little flex there, so now it's time to do the other side. I'm very thankful that there's not a ton of water coming out of there. And it's not too hot. Okay, so there's not too much water coming out of this. This is running directly to my divorce reservoir. Got these caps on, so when I go to lift this off and I move it around, there shouldn't be any water spilling everywhere, which is good. We're gonna have to drain it anyways because I'm removing my intercooler cores, but to get this off and onto the bench, I like to not have as much of a mess as possible. So now it's time to double check everything. We are going to go over the entire supercharger with a flashlight and make sure there's no connections that we miss, because we don't want to lift up on this thing and have something snag. So be really, really careful. Look around in here, look for any electrical connections that you might have missed. Okay, we're at the stage where we're almost ready to pull off the supercharger. Now, one big thing here that we haven't done yet in order to get this off, you know, everything is unscrewed and whatnot, we've got all our pipes disconnected, but our supercharger belt is still on. I overlooked that in the beginning, probably should have been one of the first things I did. Not a big deal, we can still get it now. So the best way to do that, I've got this nice long serpentine belt remover long wrench thing here. It's a 16 millimeter socket on our 16 millimeter nut that you need to be accessing here. And I'm not gonna get the camera down and show you guys. You know, if you're removing your supercharger, then you probably know how to do this. Get on there and you're gonna go clockwise, and don't try and pull it off your pulley, just back it off of the idler pulley. It's a smooth pulley there and it just slides off, super simple. And then once you have that, you can, once you have that completely off, it's tight down here because of my aftermarket pulley. You can just work that off of there and just leave it in place. You don't need to mess with it at all. You don't even need to take your wrench off here. You can leave that on there. Quick note, if you have the OEM coolant pipes, so mine's divorced, so I don't have to do this, but on your OEM coolant pipes, they come down, there is a spot right here. Right here, you'll see it where these OEM coolant pipes come up, and there's a T30. You need to remove that T30 to get those coolant pipes to back out. So don't forget that, and don't break that. But now we should be ready to remove the supercharger. In preparation for removing the supercharger, you want to go through, you want to make sure nothing is connected, double check all your vacuum lines, your electrical connections. It's a good idea to blow these channels out with some compressed air as well as shop vac it so nothing falls into your engine bay. But you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 eye hooks here that are meant to pull the engine, hold the weight of the engine, things like that. But when you're just removing your supercharger, you're going to use these as well. And I like to use just 2 small wrenches. Now, one thing you can see, I got a good space on my workbench that I can just pick this up and move it over. I do have these caps on that crossover pipe, so I shouldn't leak any coolant sufficiently out of here, maybe a drip or 2. But if you don't have that, make sure you're prepared for a bunch of coolant to spill out, because when you lift this up and it tips forward, coolant's gonna rush out of your cores and come out of that pipe. So make sure you're prepared for all of that. If you've got a good blanket to put over the front of the car, not a bad idea, because if you drop this here, you don't want to damage anything. So use these, you can use socket extensions, anything like that. You want to lift up, break the seal there, and then when you do this, you want to lift this entire thing straight up and off the stud. And it's heavy, so, and it's kind of awkward to get good leverage on it. If you feel something hanging up, make sure you go back and you take a look and make sure there's nothing getting caught on anything. Something's bound to get caught here and there. All right, and you can see this one pipe here that's connected to this solenoid, purge valve, whatever it is, that connects to your PCB, so you just want to pull that off. Then you get this all the way over to your work area. And that is how you remove your supercharger. If you're only removing your supercharger, this is a great time to go in here and just look for little things, check stuff. I'm looking for water, which I can already see water on here because of my leaking intercooler core. So that's why I'm removing mine. But I hope this DIY was very helpful. You reinstall everything the exact opposite of how you took it off. Just make sure when you set it on these studs, you come down nice and easy. Don't bend any of these studs here. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Please like and subscribe. Love you guys. See you on the next video.